Hi, so I've been asked by a couple of people how to teach children knife skills. Not particularly confident with knives themselves and not sure where to start getting their children to use knives. So the first thing I want to talk to you about is knives that you might use. You can buy these child-friendly knives. I got these, a set of 3. They were in different sizes from Amazon. If you're in Bristol, Rajani sell them. They're called salad knives quite often when you're looking for them. They're big, they're relatively safe to use. They're sharp enough to cut, but not sharp enough to cut a child's finger. You will struggle with things like carrots when you're chopping because they just don't have enough power to them. I'm going to be cutting with my knife today. You'll notice that I've got my board in front of me and then my knives laid out in front. Again, that's another safety thing. So when you're setting up the worktop to work with them, put the board down, the knife is there with the blade facing away, so that you're not going to get any fingers in the way. Next thing to talk about is how you hold the knife. So we always talk about holding it by the handle, keeping our fingers behind the blade. We don't put our hands here, and that's how we safely hold the knife to chop. The next thing to think about is where they're chopping. So I'm sitting down today to be able to do the video with you more easily, but when you're chopping with your children, you make sure you stand. It's a lot safer. You're firmly planted with your feet on the floor, and you're straight to the worktop. No, like this. Have them at the right height for the worktop, so on a stool if necessary. You can get the towers that you can put your children in to keep them safe whilst they're chopping. If it's really not safe to chop at the worktop, then at a dining room table is another good option for places to chop. It really isn't ideal sitting down. You don't have enough room to manoeuvre and you don't have enough control over the knife. So I'm going to take you through 3 techniques today for chopping. The first one is called the bridge. The second one is the bear claw, and then we'll do a rapid or quick or fine chop. So first of all, the bridge. So with a bridge, we're making a bridge with our hands over the item that we want to chop. And the knife goes through the bridge. So I've got my hand over the apple, the knife goes through the bridge and straight down. So it's an ideal thing for cutting apples, for cutting along the length of a carrot, things that are large where you need a real secure hold. So again, knife through the bridge. So I'm going to use the bridge technique to cut my carrot in half. Another thing to consider is when they're chopping, to as much as possible, obviously it's not possible with a whole carrot, but once it's chopped in half, having the flat side on the chopping board, again, makes it safe. Just going to cut the ends off that. And then we're going to look at what's called the bear claw. So with your children, you pinch the thumb and the index finger together, and then the other fingers make a claw shape. And the idea then is that the fingers and the tips of the fingers are well away from the knife. Your knife glides down the side of your knuckles, if that. A lot of fun for children, if you're saying do the bear claw, to then do the growl that goes with it. So it's a bear claw chop, so grrr, get your bear claws out, and then you glide the knife along, keeping the fingers well out of the way, and you can move your fingers back as you chop. Now you see that I was doing a rocking motion with my knife. That's another thing that you can start to teach. They might need to just do a single chop. You might need to do this to start with until you build your confidence. But as you get more confident and quicker, then you can do a rocking motion, and it does speed up your chopping. So the bear claw, you would want to use that when you're chopping an onion, for example, and when you're doing a fine chop of carrots. Next, we're going to do a fast chop, a rapid chop, and we want this for chopping finely. Normally I do that with herbs. I've run out of fresh herbs today, so I'm going to show you how to do that with a spring onion. Just remove this horrible bit. This is quite good actually. I'm going to get my chopping done for tea later. Okay, so I'm going to start by using the bear claw to chop it relatively small to begin with, keeping my fingers well out the way, using the rocking movement, and now I want that chopped very finely. So we hold the knife like this, have a finger and thumb over the blade like that, or indeed just over the top like that, and very fast rub over it. And you end up with a very fine chop of spring onion or herbs. Scrape it together and go again. So that's a good way to finely chop garlic as well. Once you've cut some garlic small, you can then finely chop, and then just very carefully with the finger, don't let children do that, rub down the knife to get it off. So there you have it, a very quick introduction to 3 different knife skills and how to handle knives with your children.